right, if you just joined us or you're still with us, it's still Enterprise Friday reaching you from Enterprise Television. Let's get to our main conversation for today. China has expressed its opposition to foreign interference in African countries' internal affairs while showing readiness to support Africa's peace and security. This includes a 1 billion yuan grant for military assistance, training 60,000 military personnel and 1,000 police officers. China's Foreign Minister Wang Yi emphasized this during a joint press briefing in Nigeria after a meeting with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. He highlighted China's commitment to building China-Africa community with a shared future and modernizing peace and security in Africa. Wang Yi revealed significant outcomes from the strategic planning between China and Nigeria's presidents, including elevating their relationship to a comprehensive strategic partnership, establishing new cooperation platforms, and coordinating closely in international and regional affairs. He praised the long-standing China-Nigeria cooperation, exemplifying South-South collaboration. On economic cooperation, China expressed willingness to study Nigeria's proposal to increase the currency swap line and support the issuance of panda bonds. Wang Yi reiterated China's confidence in Nigeria's credibility and its role in infrastructural development. Nigeria's Foreign Minister Yusuf Tugar stressed Nigeria's preference for self-reliance in security, is seeking collaboration with China to domesticate military equipment production, thus reducing reliance on foreign procurement. Let's have a conversation today. Joining us from the United States of America, Atlanta, Georgia specifically, it's Barrister Vansu Feli. He is a barrister of law and a public affairs analyst. Good morning and welcome to Nigeria.
Good morning to you.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Yes. All right, and we have in the studios with us Emeka Madunagu, journalist, public affairs analyst. Thank you, Emeka, for being here.
My pleasure.
We truly do appreciate
Hello,
you.
viewer.
All right. So let's start off at this, and I would love to start with you, Barrister Vance Feli. And there's no gainsaying that with what we see today, Africa-China relationship, it's more becoming a testing ground for the PRC. That's the public, the People's Republic of China. Don't you see that coming?
Well, China preferred this kind of deal than what she would have with any other very advanced or developed country. The introduction was funny because here China is talking about Africa staying away from the foreign intervention in her quest to combat terrorism and many of her problems. So China is calling every other nation who is doing whatever it is foreign. But she's now coming forth to say you are giving a 1 billion yen to ease the problem on ground. I mean, is China not foreign to Africa?
All put together, and we'll be right back, to have your take on that. Emeka Madunagu, of course, it's an issue, really, because if you take a look at the China, Taiwan, China, Hong Kong issue, the next door neighbor, but of course the FACA is still there. Now, how comfortable do you think Africa, and most importantly Nigeria, should take this?
Thank you very much. You see, the issue is this. Nigeria is the soul of Africa. Nigeria is the biggest trading partner of many top countries, leading countries in the world. And so all of them want a slice of the Nigerian pie. China has its problems in the South China Sea. You even didn't add Macau, you didn't add the Philippines, you didn't add India. Those are, and I think to some extent Australia. Those are areas, where, and then Japan, there's Japan, yes, Japan. Those are areas that should actually bother China. But China is more interested in coming to Africa. Why? Everybody wants to come to Africa. Everybody wants to come to Nigeria. Why? Because of Nigeria's solid minerals. You can see the new wave of African renaissance. Francophone African countries kicking France out. You know, Niger went as far as kicking the United States out as well. You know, so, but Nigeria, conversely, is opening its doors to everybody. Now, what does it show? The administration of President Bola Tinubu is trying to be as open as possible, you know, be friends with everybody. But at the end of the day, it's not going to work.
It's not going to work.
Yes, you know why?
Even if
you know why?
the deals have been signed already.
You know why?
Yes.
What deals? So many, Buhari signed, his predecessor Muhammad Buhari signed so many deals that fell on the ground. One of the deals was with Qatar. I still remember the photograph, you know, of Buhari watching as the Minister of Finance, Kemi Adeosun, was signing that deal. What happened to that deal? Nothing. Direct flight to Qatar, nothing. You understand? Yes, we have direct flight to Qatar. Yes, but what I'm saying is that what has become of that visit? Nothing. President Tinubu has gone to Qatar and come back. What has become of it? Nothing. We hyped the resumption of ties with the United Arab Emirates. What has come of it? Nothing. Has it improved Nigeria's standing with the United Arab Emirates? No. Now we're bringing France in, and France is pledging economic cooperation, security cooperation, and all of that. Even environmental cleanup to help us clean up 2,000 abandoned pits across the country. What are they looking for? They know that the geopolitics of the world is changing. Donald Trump is coming in. And Donald Trump is talking of tariffs that is going to battle tariffs to the ground. And so what are these guys doing? You know, they are trying to form a separate alliance away from the United States through BRICS, you know, through the BRICS, you know. So it's just a preemptive measure. By coming to Nigeria, talking of security assistance, they know that is Nigeria's weak point, security. So that's where they will easily, because do you know the interesting thing is that Chinese nationals are among the people causing this insecurity in Nigeria. They're engaged in illegal logging. They engage in illegal mining. They engage in a lot of illegal activities. They bring in unregistered, undocumented immigrants into the country on visa, and they disappear. It is from time to time. I know one Chinese company, there was a time immigration raided their factory, and some of their people went to hide inside the drainage near the factory. They were just hiding them in different places, you know. So when you talk about security problem, it's strange that China is the one talking of helping Nigeria. First of all, clean up your acts. We talk about China that if you engage in corruption in China, you will be executed with a bullet to the back of your head. But I now ask a question. I've challenged China. Up till now, no response. Why is it that clean up your acts now? What you are doing, what your nationals are doing all over the world, clean up those acts. Because those acts are what we have in Nigeria is petty stealing. It's petty stealing. Somebody just opens the treasury of the state and starts appropriating. That is stealing. So, but what these people are doing is economic sabotage. They're actually making it difficult for Nigeria to progress, for Nigeria to move in any direction, forward, left, right, or back, or even to move. That's what they're doing.
All right, so while we talk about that, Basil Fansufeli, coming from what Emeka had just said, this is a second wave, a second phase of imperialism. But how come African leaders are not seeing this? What is that mask that covers and hovers around them that makes it difficult for them to see it coming?
It's pure imperialism. I agree with you 100%, pure imperialism. But you see, the clog in the eyes of the African leaders is the loan, the grant. They've called this one a grant, but you know, it's a hook, okay? Because they are our creditors, no matter how you look at it. Their government wants to stretch forth its hands on the issue of security. I know that, like Emeka have said, many of them are responsible for many crimes that are happening in the country. They are the ones importing bad tires that cause accidents on the road. You know, they are the ones importing so many things. And now the bigger issue that we are not aware of is that the Chinese have discovered our food. Here in the United States, when you walk into a Chinese restaurant, when you walk into a Nigerian restaurant, you expect to see Nigerians and black people there. It's the Chinese people that are eating, swallowing a bar, and the rest of that. Now, when you look at the population, you look at the fact that there's a strong focus on Africa, because Africa have a huge deposit of natural resources and raw material for production. And you know that the strength of the Chinese has to do with industrialization. So it is only a natural propensity that China will be looking wholesomely into Africa. Not just China, every other country, they're looking at that. That is the only destination in the world you can find crude materials for production and refinement, and then for trade. So this, they are talking about they're going to give and all that. I mean, they are going to give that, but what they will get in return will be far bigger than that, because the Chinese have, have given funds out, sovereign loan, to many African countries. There are over 16 of them out of 52 of them where Chinese government have dominance. Okay? And because the Chinese man is only law-abiding in his own country, when he's set out of his country, when he finds that your laws are weak and you have natural resources and you have all these things, they want to do business with you. They want to do business with you. It is not like they are honest, but they are exploitative and they are very extractive. Okay? Okay, what are they talking about now? They're talking about security. To secure the space so that it can be good for business. Why are they not talking about education, educating us, or giving us technical skill? If truly is a partnership in progress, why are they not talking about giving us technical skills, improving our educational, or giving us a technical know-how on the things that they do very well? Okay, so they are only going to assist in security to them. They are calling other nations foreign. So they already started seeing themselves as, indigenous to the Nigerian space or the African space. Then every other person is foreign. So as much as assisting in security is important, because we are losing it, we have lost our guards, we are not able to provide security, we are not able to provide the basics. Okay. So many countries will come with grants and credit facilities and so many things in exchange for the resources that we have.
Yes, but the Nigerian military and the government had ruled out foreign mercenaries in Nigeria. But of course, with the military collaboration with China and Nigeria, which of course, if you take a look at it very closely, you would see some pointers to show that the Chinese government is coming in full force. But the Nigerian government is denying that. So how do we make sense of all of this?
They cannot deny it. I mean, there's a meeting. We saw the Chinese minister with the president, and there was a meeting. The press were there now. The press only reported what happened, what transpired in the meeting. Okay? So there's nothing to deny there. They're not denying anything. Okay? These people are bringing funds for you to train soldiers and policemen. Is that not what they are doing? Okay, they are bringing funds. They are going to have bilateral. They will drop those funds. You will train more people. The more you train the armed forces and the policemen, the more you are going to have security in the land. And once you have security, that is when trade will prosper. They know what they are doing. I am not completely against what they are doing. Since we are not able to guide us to provide security for ourselves, okay, let them come. Let the manpower come in. Because even America have, a lot of countries have done analysis about security architecture, that we have shortage in manpower, apart from the corruption that is in there with the service chiefs and the rest of that. We have shortage of manpower. So if they are providing training, they're providing resources to recruit more people, it's not bad. But in the long run, they need Nigeria to be peaceful for them to continue to perpetuate trade. Not necessarily that they want the country to prosper or be like them or something like that, or better. They just want a place that will be easy for them to continue business. And that's exactly what they are doing.
All right.
It's a capitalist arrangement.
Yes, very well. Emeka Madunagu, you're a historian, and looking at 1884, when Africa was was shredded, and of course we're having a repeat of that, even if it's not,
Ethiopia was not part of that shredding.
Of course.
That point has to be noted. So it wasn't the whole of Africa that was shredded.
But of course Nigeria was amongst them. But taking a look at that, the role of the West, that of course they've plundered, a larger part of Africa, including Nigeria. And what do you think about the West-China relationship when we will talk about this? You mentioned Donald Trump, reiterating the need to have an inclusive system around the world.
An exclusive system.
An exclusive
that
one.
favors America. If you charge us tariffs, we will charge you more. It will be... It's a zero-sum game.
But looking at the American relationship with Africa, which of course with Donald Trump might change, and of course China not being in bed at most times with America, how do you think this would work? Remember, Nigeria is a very big, strategic partner with America.
Well, we assume that Nigeria is, that word big is one of the things defeating us in this country. Let's just go and do business and stop all these big, largest. What is all that? Who cares about all that? People are not going to put down money with you now because you are big. The point is this: the way we articulate our foreign policy is faulty. We don't even have a viable foreign policy. The United States, at right now, it's not very interested in doing business with Africa. The last US president that showed clear interest in Africa, I've said many times, was George Walker Bush. He was the only president, and was a Republican, who showed real deep interest in relations with Africa. Since then, Obama, what did he really do? The rest of them, what have they done? Even Joe Biden, what have they really done? So
is it because they feel there's no more nutrient left in Africa?
No. You see, the 9/11, September 11 terror attacks in the United States actually changed a lot of dynamics. It moved the focus of the United States to the Middle East, because they saw that there was a clear and present potent danger from the Middle East, which they had to deal with. So they now began to train a lot of foreign service personnel, in Arabic. They had to learn Arabic, learn Middle East culture, and all of those things. So they moved focus away from Africa because they didn't see Africa as a threat. And they said, you people can as well kill off yourselves, no problem, as long as you are not threatening the interests of the United States in any way. That is it. And that has hurt the US in many ways. Because what it means is that it has created a gap, a vacuum, which China, India, and some other countries are exploiting. France is trying to exploit. The United Kingdom is not really sure, of how to go about it, even though, well, it confidently sits as a former colonial power, So the point is this: we need to articulate our own foreign policy as Nigerians. You remember when Victor Malo, was saying 2001, when he was saying no, that Nigeria will not accept for America to come and train Nigerian troops. Yes, which was patriotic, but that was a big blunder. Because at that time, Boko Haram was already knocking on our doors. By 2002, by the following year, Boko Haram was actually knocking on our doors. But sadly, Nigerian intelligence didn't pick up. Maybe they thought it was one of those fringe groups that would just, fizzle out. But somehow, Boko Haram just gained a kind of strength, a kind of currency that defied, the Nigerian intelligence, security intelligence, ability. So now, Nigeria saying they won't bring in foreign mercenaries. That is not the issue. The foreign minister was being very smart with his choice of language.
Wang Yi.
Foreign mercenaries. No, that wasn't on the table. Foreign mercenaries. What was on the table was whether China was coming to train your military, and which is a disgrace, actually. For China to be saying it wants to come and train your military, train your police, that is a big disgrace. It's just like maybe any country coming to say Well, aren't we doing it? Saying they are training Nigeria in running its power sector. When we had power in Lagos, that later became a part of Nigeria, as far back as 1896.
But
which was, I'm coming, which was 1896. Just hold on. Yeah. Now, the United States, it took the United States over 100 years before it was able to develop power. But how many years did it take us? So, it is to tell you that because we have lost the plot, the ball has dropped, instead of us to try to pick the ball and make sure it doesn't drop, we are now begging all kinds of things. Go and look at the statement issued by the presidency after Tinubu's visit to China. Put it side by side with what this Chinese foreign minister said. We listed so many things. We are going to do currency swap, China, Nigeria, cultural relations, blah, blah, blah. The man has boiled it down to only how many issues? Just 2 or 3 issues. He talked about training, security. He talked about currency swap. They are not even sure on currency swap because IMF will not allow that currency swap to work. When Buhari tried it, IMF blocked that deal. They won't allow it to work. Not talk about when Donald Trump is coming in. You want to bypass the dollar and go naira to yuan. What are you saying? You want to help China to put the United States in an uncomfortable situation, and yet every year you collect aid, you collect grants from the United States. Come on, you must be kidding now.
All right. Mr. Francis Feli, I would love to ask you 2 questions, actually. If you were at the meeting, and of course you were seated right there, what do you think could be that best negotiation that you think would favor Nigeria in that particular matter as against Nigeria and China? Then the second question is, some of the media handlers of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu are all about town, saying there's nothing wrong in having a military drill, that even NATO, you know, first world countries, they equally have military drills amongst themselves, that this is more like a military drill. And so I would love to have your take on those questions.
Well, they may not be totally wrong, okay, but we are looking at how far we have come with this beggarly policy that we have. You know, we have a lot inward, but we all believe in this, let's get aid from here, let's get this from there, let's always get this from there. That is also the culture we have taken into, we have to take loan to fund budget, take loan to pay salary, take loan to make the budget to perform, and the rest of that. You see, we must look inward at some point, okay? It's not bad for you to have bilateral agreements and international scale. I mean, it's encouraged by international law that as much as possible, you should have, foreign policy, non-alignment with other countries of the world. You exchange cultural values and economic policies that will enhance, human development in society. That is granted. But it does not then mean that anything you want to do, even your sovereign army, you have to get help from outside. To education, you have to get help from outside. Everything you want to do, you must look for who will fund it, or who will give grant loan, or how, and at the rest of, at the end of the day, you are not really doing anything. You are just there as a nation chasing shadows. That's what we're talking about. You understand? Collaboration is good, it's important, but can we find out exactly what the blueprint or what the policy of this government is that is indigenous to her? Okay, we talk about Ethiopia here. Ethiopia is one of the earliest destinations of man. Okay? As we speak now, Ethiopia is not going. Ethiopia is in 2017 as we speak. They have their own calendar. Yes, check it online.
Does that make it right? Does that make it?
No. It's not a question of right.
Okay.
Time, you see, this thing you call calendar is man-made. What we have is the Gregorian calendar. That's why you say you are in 2025, right? The Gregorian calendar you have, they have their own, which predates the Gregorian calendar. It's one of the earliest destinations of man. If you go there from the airport, you will see the relics of that organic, unique place. Okay? So that's just by reference. Okay? So we are not. What is the indigenous thing that we have created that have advanced the cause of man in Nigeria that is not polluted by foreign influence? Because the more foreign influence you gain, the weaker you lose focus and formidability in that which is indigenous to you. Okay, so it shouldn't just be all the time we are getting. Anytime they say aid in Africa, you keep hearing Nigeria, and we keep saying we're the biggest, we're the most advanced, but we need government that will really, steer the ship proper. Of all countries, it's China we are going to be sharing military information with, military code with, and all that. And these are people that we have signed agreement with on some sovereign issues and all that. So the press or the Chinese incursion into the country, where the reciprocity. I've not heard anything about the reciprocity. I mean,
Thank you.
Call your people to order. The Chinese are committing so much crime in Nigeria. They are into illegal everything all over the space. So that is reciprocity. So it does not just, we don't end up by being at the mercy of the Chinese, where you begin to hear things like they're going to take over this, take over that, they're going to take over this and the rest of that. So we must be careful with these bilateral agreements, and we must also improve on our indigenous policy to advance our country indigenously. Whatever China is bringing should be an addition. It should not become the focus. That's what I'm saying.
That's very true. Emeka, let's talk about the cultural exchange between China and Nigeria. At some point in Lagos State government, the Ministry of Education, they had allowed for Chinese to be taught in primary schools, though at some point it was resisted, and of course they went back on that particular matter. But as we speak today, more Nigerians are learning Chinese language, so there will be a robust relationship between China and Nigeria. And the question is, at what point, just like Barrister Vance did say, at what point do you think would it ever be possible for Nigeria and Africa to regain its state and possibly try to export same like it's being imported to us every other day?
The problem here is that we don't like hearing the truth. So no matter how much you talk and talk, until it happens, our people don't learn. The Chinese are actually learning Nigerian languages. They are learning about Nigerian territories, Nigerian cultures and all of that. That's why you see the Isiagu now. Were they not the ones who communized it? They just simply took it, something that was a revered, a cultural symbol. They turned it to shirts and people were just buying it and using it for anything. So what's the cultural exchange? What cultural exchange do we have with China? Just TikTok that they gave to the world. Everywhere, some countries have banned it, Why? Because every country uses what it can. Every weapon in its arsenal to gently, use soft power to gently subdue others and make itself prominent. And which is what is going on. Yesterday I was talking about how Indians are gradually taking over, investments in the United States. Now, just about how many Indians, are controlling $5 trillion, in the American economy, in the exchange. So all these things is also a gradual. Look at the United Kingdom now. Pakistanis, Indians, are virtually taking over the property market now. So these are the things that countries do when they find vulnerability in other countries. You call it trade. Well, the point is that those countries lack that. So right now, Nigeria should actually be the one training the militaries of Africa, of countries.
Which it had done in the past.
Which it no longer has the capacity. Nigeria can't even train his own military. So we have to depend on China to come and train our military. So there is no cultural exchange. You can talk about, maybe cultural cooperation, but exchange, what are we exchanging for? What are the cultural similarities between Nigeria and China? What are the cultural things that we can learn from China? Yes. So if we want to learn their language, some Nigerian universities are teaching Mandarin, you know. But you know what China did? They now started bringing in their own people who could speak English, you know, who could speak English and all of that. They started bringing them. So what is it doing? It means the investment that those universities have made in getting lecturers, you know, in buying equipment and all that, the investment is going to be eroded. It's going to be wasted. So instead of looking for cheap areas where we can, you see, let us go for the hard stuff. Let's go for the hard stuff. We don't need for China to come and train our military. What China does to other countries, let's also do it with them. If they bring their military equipment, let them bring, you say it's difficulties in procurement. There are no difficulties in procurement. The difficulties have to do with corruption. When our own people here connive with foreign contractors, you know, to jack up all those things, you know, the cost of procurement and all of that. So that is where the problem is. So the point is, we must get serious in Nigeria. We cannot be a beggarly nation. Nobody will respect a beggarly nation. That is one. Secondly, we must know that, look, our problems are actually internally generated. So it's not what a training from China. It's what is 6,000 soldiers in training 6,000 soldiers to do what? We sent people to Belarus. We sent people to Pakistan to train as special forces. When they brought them back, they have now become VIP escorts. You can see them now wearing, look at, you will see on the airport, you will see special forces. Yes. Some of them are even on the road at checkpoints. Those are the people who spent millions of dollars training abroad as special forces. They are now guarding some people who should actually be in jail. So what we do is that we don't even know what we want. So everything is just a mixture, a mishmash and all that. China finishes training these 6,000 people. The VIPs will now distribute them. They will share them among VIPs. And at the end of the day, you will not see the value of the training. Every day you hear Nigeria is buying military equipment from India, and yet ISWAP and Boko Haram will infiltrate military camps and kill our soldiers.
All right.
So what we need to do is this. We must tell ourselves the truth. Let's rework our system. Let's rework our system. This country, we can do a lot by ourselves. But as long as we expose the United States comes because they want to give us some chicken change, we expose our secrets to them. France comes, we do the same thing. UK, now China. Very soon, the whole world, if on the internet, every secret about Nigeria will be available for sale.
All right.
On the internet.
Yes. But Stefan Sufeli, 60 seconds, please. What do you think Nigeria would have to learn from the Canada United States relationship? Of course, most recently, Donald Trump, he said he would make possible, I don't know, of course that is sarcasm though, but of course it's becoming serious, that he would possibly make Canada the 51 state in America, which of course Canadians resisted with everything that they have. What do you think Nigeria can learn from Canada on how to handle issues of imperialism?
Well, what he said actually was an insult. I mean, because this is a country that's doing very, very well, even doing in many areas better than America. Okay, so for you to make such statement is condescending, and I, for once, when because I have issues with that kind of expression, it's not presidential at all. It's not presidential. I mean, sovereignty behoves of a certain level of respect for one another. So what Nigeria can learn from that is that we should not be submitting our sovereignty to everybody, to every Dick and Harry. Just anywhere we just hear aid, anywhere we hear grant, a government will go there and the begging cap in hand and all that. We have so many. For China, for example, we can choose what we want to have cultural exchange. Let them come and teach our people technical skill. Okay, education. We have so many talents in our country. Our technical education is dead. Okay, I mean vocational school is completely dead. Okay, so in that area they will make an impact. Okay, not on issues as severe as security. Because by the time they start to do this, we are going to be exchanging very serious security secrets. Okay? Very serious economic secrets and security secrets, which will, it's like telling the United States now that you want to come and train their army. From where? To go and train who? Or so that nuclear codes and all that. You will not be having access to nuclear codes and all that. It's not, if Nigeria were to be a country that have a nuclear weapon and all that, would the Chinese come and say they want to, would they do that? Who is going to share those nuclear codes with you? Nobody's going to do that. So we should be picky. We should be picky because we are big enough. As at the time Nigeria, was, booming, in those days, the Chinese, they were nowhere to be found.
Yes.
Even after the Chinese Revolution, they were many years after, they were struggling. They had to send their offsprings to America to come learn all that and all that. And today, through cloning, they have, they've been able to copy paste, taking models and different kinds of technological models across the world, repackage them, rearrange them, rebrand them, and put it forth and all that. At the end of the day, what you have is the advancement that you see. The advancement came through education, and that education is not indigenous to them. The education is sourced. Okay? So, because they knew what they want, and they went for what they wanted. So, why can't we be picky like that? And then, you want to have, this relationship with us, fine. We like it, but we want it in this area and that area. And we close shop. We focus on those areas, okay? Because, even if you secure the space, okay, and you still don't have all those variables, those education, public health care, and the rest of that, you are still going nowhere, really. So you are still going nowhere. Security is just one angle to it. The myriad other areas that we need to improve on. I mean, you can have security and then doctors will still be leaving the country in drones. Okay, and that problem have not been fixed, that of health. The one that has to do with education have not been fixed. The one that has to do with agriculture, for example, have not been fixed. So why don't we discuss with China to get tractors and then give to farmers? Okay, why can't we channel that aid to that area and then look at how we can reposition? And so there are so many things that we need to talk about, and this government should, seek advice, economic advice from experts, so that they can steer the ship of this country in the right direction.
All right, thank you so very much. And of course, as at September 5th, 2024, China had already done over $51 billion of investment in Africa. In fact, they called it debt-laden Africa. That's so very
$51 billion. What is $51 billion?
So that
in 2024, $51 billion. What is $51 billion in 2024? Go and look at the variables. That was money Gowon used to pay salaries in Grenada. We were giving out as aid. Go and calculate the value with what we had when we had oil boom. Even under Babangida, what is $51 billion? We are shameless in Africa. That is the issue. We are shameless. That's just the issue. We are shameless.
All right, we sincerely do hope that those who are running the country, will listen and, of course, watch and, of course, take note of some of these things because, of course, sovereignty belongs to us and we must maintain it at all costs. Thank you so very much, Barrister Vance Ofeli, for joining us. We truly do appreciate you.
My pleasure.
Yes, Emeka Madunago, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
All right, people, that's just about the time and the size of our package today. We are grateful to you, but please do well to visit us. You can see more of this when you visit us at enterprisetvnews.com. You may equally like, comment, and follow us on all our social media platforms at Enterprise TV 7. I am Henry Igwebike. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you. Bye-bye.
Enterprise TV, a tradition of truth.